All right, third time's a charm. I have I had one video that was like 10 minutes, and then the next one was like 20, and I deleted them both. The second one because I got a phone call in the middle of it, and it's like, let's just deal with it. Because it was my mother. So we're on day 5 of the missing dog. Gidget's just staring at me like, why are you doing this again? Be done already. But we've not heard anything else. There's no more sightings that we've heard of since Sunday morning. There's been drama with the doing stuff, right? Because my mom's trying to find a way to make everybody else have to do it and not be the one doing it, which, of course, because my dad can't do anything to help with the search, that falls on me, right? But she went out of her way on Sunday to come back in and let me know that she didn't blame me for the dog going missing. And I said, that's good, because I don't blame me either. And I think I kind of caught her off guard, because I was supposed to be feeling bad, right? That's how I was raised, was something happened that affects the family. I'm supposed to feel bad. And especially because it was on my watch, right? But there again, me taking the dog with us, I mean, really, it was more of a favor to the dog than anything, because she had all this pent-up energy that wasn't getting burned off otherwise. So when I would take her on the walks with my dogs, it was at least time with the pack where she was burning some energy. And it did seem to be really helpful in getting her to kind of warm up to being here a little bit, right? So it was like, because she was going on walks with everybody, then she got to a point where she started playing in the backyard. Because she was going on these walks, then she started getting a little closer to me, and like, she would let me boop her on the nose. But don't look at her too much. But yeah, like, the walks were the big thing that helped her to adjust at all to the new situation, right? And the hell, oh, blankets all folded up. Right, so Saturday was when she went missing because she slipped out of her collar. And then I got hung up, and I've said many times, it's like, it felt like I was being divinely blocked from being able to do what I would have done. Right, because had I known that my dogs were secure in the car and not have my car all hung up, I probably would have taken off after her and like stayed on it as much as possible. I don't know. Anyway, I kept getting blocked, so I couldn't continue how I would have done otherwise, right? My stubbornness, I would have kept going. But then, like, when I got stuck in the mud, then there's the eagles flying overhead. It's like, there's something going on here, and like, it's like divinely orchestrated, and it's, probably sounds weird, but very much one of those things that's just divinely orchestrated. And the full extent of what the purposes that it serves, which I think there are many, I think it's going to be a while before I really understand how many purposes there are in this. But I think the biggest one is to help me disconnect from my family completely and realize that, yeah, nothing's changing. Nothing's ever going to change. And when I get out of here, I need to be done. Get away, be free, go live my own life, and not connect with them ever again. Of course, I've been kind of wishy-washy on that, because when things are peaceful, then it's like, is it really that bad? But then when they're not peaceful, it's like, yeah, it's that bad. And I think that's one of those things. It's like my chronic history of gaslighting myself in that way, because when it doesn't seem that bad in the moment, and it's like, is it really that bad, or is it just me? And that's part of why I got stuck with my ex for as long as I did, was because I would leave, and then I would hear my family talking about how much they hated him. And then, when I talked to him again and he'd talk about how much my family hated him, it's like, did I leave because I was unhappy, or did I leave because my family hates him? Right? So that was like one of those big issues that I was having on that disconnection process was, is this me, or is this them talking at me and I'm just hearing it too much? So when I went to leave the last time, I had minimal contact with my family because I had to know it was me choosing myself when he started trying to do that same pulling at my emotions thing that my family's always done, right? And so it's been an ordeal with the dog this week. So, I mentioned my mom, I think I mentioned, made a big deal about, coming home on Sunday to tell me that she did not blame me for what had happened. And I said, good, because I don't either. And when she looked at me, it was like she felt somehow like she was supposed to be freeing me from the burden of my guilt. But I didn't have this burden of guilt because I knew the dog slipped out of her damn collar. Yes, ideally I would have checked it after the groomer, but I forgot, right? Because when she got that collar put on, I made sure that all her fluff was on the other side of it so it wouldn't slip off. I forgot that would be a thing that I would need to do again after the groomer, right? I just didn't think about it. But this is something that annoys me too. So I told my mom to call the lady with the rescue as soon as the dog went missing. So, she did come out and help, so that was for a good reason. Which I didn't know if she would or not. I mean, I kind of figured she probably would, but didn't know if she'd have any other suggestions or whatever. But one of the things that really pissed me off was when the lady at the rescue sees me for the first time since the dog was left with us and comes over and shakes me on the arm and says, "Don't ever, ever, ever take the martingale collar off of the Sheltie. They slip their collars so easily, blah, blah, blah." It's like, woman, this is not my dog. The fact that I was walking this dog was a favor to the dog more than anybody. But it was just one of those things where it's like, because I was walking the dog, I'm supposed to have this burden of guilt and shame and all this stuff. But let's go back to that point of, I did not want the dog. I was very adamant about saying over and over again all this year, the beginning of the year, I don't want another dog. I don't want another dog to take care of, right? Because I knew it would fall on me one way or another. As it has, right? So anything that's been done for working with the dog has been because I've done it, right? Whether it's corralling the dog back to their room so they can go to bed, or getting her in the house, she's been walking with us, figuring out the food situation, which, mine are they all eat together. So, I mean, it's basically, it works out because, I got to feed mine anyway. So figuring out how she was going to eat and what she would eat out of best to get all of her food and not get chased out of it by one of mine. Right? So it's like having to deal with that dynamic. But, the biggest thing was I didn't want another thing to take care of. And with my parents and all their health issues, I knew it was going to fall on me to take care of it, right? And even being the one to get her in the house just to put a leash on her to sit her on the couch next to my dad and make him pet her from time to time. Right? When she first got there, there was a dog bed she laid on, and then once she got used to that spot, then she wouldn't go anywhere else. Then we got her to where she was going to the couch, but then she wouldn't go anywhere else. Then she figured out the dog door, and then she was always bolting out the dog door. It became a pain in the butt. But on the bringing her back and forcing my parents to spend time with her, that was usually me saying, you guys need to spend time with her. So yeah. So I did not appreciate, I mean, essentially the lady with the rescue wanting to pin it on me as it was my fault because she didn't have the right collar on, which, you know, my mom wanted to get her a collar that had their name and phone numbers on it, right? So yeah. Anyway. I was out searching all day Sunday. And in the afternoon, or the early part of the day, in the afternoon, we had like a window where the library was open between 1 and 4. And my mom and dad had to take a break from looking. So I said, why don't you go ahead and run by the library and make more copies? Well, then there was an issue and my mom couldn't figure out how to do that. Or it wasn't making copies, it was printing off the flyer, which we didn't have a specific flyer. What it ended up being was she liked the way Facebook had posted my brother's post, because he said a nice little blurb about the dog, and then the 3 pictures he included that he had of her, she liked how they showed up, which was just Facebook. Hey, there's 3 pictures, so there's one, and then there's like 2 others, or however it focuses them. She liked how it looked. She thought it was a flyer, or she kept calling it a flyer, or whatever. And I thought she was talking about he actually made her a flyer. That was not what she was talking about. She was just talking about the nice post that he had posted, so anybody in this area that he's still friends with on Facebook might see it, and, you know, maybe we help us find the dog, right? But then she got like all frustrated with, she couldn't figure out how to change the text on the flyer. It's like, it's because you took a damn screenshot. So I ended up coming home because we had somebody coming to pick up the couch that we were getting rid of before we got the new furniture, right? So I was home, I think I came home around 3 anyway, and I was like, or she was like, I can't figure out how to do this. It's like, you know, once I figured out that it was the Facebook post that she was talking about, not an actual flyer, because she kept saying the flyer that he made. So I should have known. But I didn't until we slowed down and processed through it. It's like, what's going on here? And it's not an actual post. Which, since she kept saying he made the flyer, then I was like, well, then just ask him to tweak the one thing and then we'll go from there. But instead, she asked him to have my sister-in-law make an actual flyer, and my sister-in-law flat out said no. And, then, of course, that's more family drama, because my sister-in-law, that doesn't like the family, with good reason, said no, right? She didn't just get pulled into the chaos, which they're not local to help keep them out of the chaos, right? So, anyway, once I figured out what she was doing, I took the screenshot of the pictures that she liked and got an actual flyer on a Word document made up. And then we ended up getting copies printed off. Not right now. Then we ended up going to CVS and getting poster board and some other stuff to make flyers, because somebody told my mom that, if you put it on the poster board, then it'll help it pop and get people's attention, right? I don't know what that dog's barking at, but hold on. Alright, so anyway, Mom couldn't go participate in posting flyers on Monday because then my grandma got sick, right? And I had to take her to the hospital. And I was just so concerned because something might happen, right? But I was participating, so it was okay for other things to go wrong. So my mom didn't get to participate that day, right? And she loved it. And yesterday, she kept asking me if I'd made more copies, right? Because we got almost all the flyers hung up. And then my uncle took some with him and was going to check some other places out closer to his house. And I think I left the house like 3 times yesterday, and she asked me each time if I'd gone and made the copies. It's like, no, I didn't. And at one point, she was like, well, where'd you go then? It's like, it doesn't matter. I wasn't here, right? And I was over at the school doing a video, which again, I'm not talking to her about that shit. But yeah, so, we ate last night, and then I said, are you about ready to go to the library? And then she realized she wasn't getting off the hook from having to participate, right? She's like, well, after I go to the bathroom and get my shoes on. And, so it was this whole ordeal, right? Well, she also had a med to pick up at CBS. So it's like, well, we can check to see if they might have put any more poster board out. Maybe get some more. And they hadn't, but I found I found packing tape, and we're basically using that on the outdoor ones to kind of make it somewhat laminated. So protect the paper from the elements a little bit, but then it also rained all day yesterday, right? So we couldn't go hang more then anyway. When we decided, well, we should probably go talk to the fire department, because we talked to the one that's closest to us, but there's one on the next road over down at the other end, or near the next main road. And so we decided to take one out to them as well. And she was expecting me to go do it. No. This is a dog I didn't even want in the first place. And this is already coming to me to have to figure out, right? And it's like, no, I didn't want this dog. The least you can do is go talk to the fire department and, give them a flyer. Absolute least you can do, right? And as she's getting out of the car, she's like, butthead. It's like, of course, because that's what we do. We resort to name calling when we don't get our way, right? It's our little temper tantrum, and boo-hoo, you're so mean. You're not doing everything for this dog you didn't want. When you're supposed to do everything just because you're the daughter and you live here. So there's that whole ordeal, right? Today, what happened today? I'm trying to even figure out what exactly it was. I sent my brother a little blurb. So we had the posters printed off, right? Or the flyers. We went and did that last night. And she was enjoying it because I was fighting with their whole system, trying to figure out how to do the things, right? Because it wasn't straightforward. It didn't have all the information on the damn paper that they handed out, or that they gave me to figure it out. And it was just really more trouble than it should have been. And it was pissing me off. And she was loving that it was pissing me off, right? So there again, the narcissistic supply. If something she does is somehow putting me out, yes, right? She enjoys that. She lives for that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so today, also, I think one level of this is something that I figured out last night too. I think part of the purpose of what this is serving is to get me introduced to a new way of being. Because I've been doing this thing on YouTube for 2 years, and I'm pretty sure the people that find my stuff aren't local. And because I've also been the one doing all the social media posts about the lost dog, because, well, somebody's got to do it, right? And social media is like the big thing that's, that was how my brother and sister-in-law found Rusty when he went missing. So it's like, it's a helpful way to find a dog, right? But it's one of those other things that I'm doing that they're not, right? I'm almost share the posts that I shared, but that's it. Otherwise, her name's on it and she's tagged and her phone number's there, so that should be good enough, right? But so we're at the library, and as we were getting ready to go, after we finally got it all figured out, this girl had come in. She sat at the other end of the computers, and she looks at me, and I didn't have any idea what she was talking about at first. She said, "You're New Pal?" And it's like, yeah, I live in New Pal. I've lived in New Pal most of my life, with a few exceptions of when I escaped, but then had to come back anyway, for whatever reason. But it's like, yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? And she says something about recognizing me from the post with the dogs. It's like, oh, that makes sense, right? But still, it was like this new thing that had never happened before. It's like, I've been doing something, and then since I'm doing this other thing locally to try to get, try to find the missing dog, somebody recognized me from it. And the biggest thing is, like, I went through and was looking at all my pictures that I have with this dog, and it's like, we don't have any pictures of her with people, except the ones that my mom wanted me to go with her to take the dog to the vet after she first got her, and afterwards needed to go to Walmart, so I sat in the car with the dog and held the dog, right? Because I take pictures a lot, I took some pictures with me and the dog, right? But the dog was like tense the whole time and didn't look real comfortable or anything, so I also got a little video of her playing the thing with the, I would move the stick that I threw Gidget's ball with, and she would like jump after it and bark at it. Right? So that was a thing that she started doing when she started warming up and to the idea of playing. But since I had myself in the picture and also myself in the little picture next to my post, somebody recognized me, and it was just a really weird thing. But when I was writing about it last night, it's like, I feel like that's another level of this too, is how am I going to respond if people if people start recognizing me, right? Like, what is that experience going to be? I mean, as long as they're not talking about fucking YouTube when I'm around my family, I don't care. But still, it was just something that was new to introduce this new thing to me, right? So yeah, so it's like, I feel like there are a lot of layers to the purpose that this serves, right? So I've talked about how the whole thing has felt divinely orchestrated, even though some of it's like really weird and I don't really necessarily understand it. But then as I'm starting to write about some of it, it's like, but this also serves this other purpose too, doesn't it? And the biggest one is, going to show that my mom's not going to change. She resorts to name calling when she doesn't get her way, which is, her way is, I do all the work and she just sits there, right? She can count herself as participating because she was there. No, I want to be the one doing all of the work, especially for a dog I didn't want in the first place. And what I wanted, like, wasn't even considered because they did, right? And if they would do any of the work for this dog that they wanted, it would be another story, right? But it's yet again, it's falling to me, right? So going back to that conversation we had where, she's trying to suck up and how amazing it would be to have another dog in the house. Just win me over to another dog point. And I said, no, I don't want to take care of another one. And my dad's there, and, well, you live here, you should have to take care of it. It's like, Dad, right there. That is why you don't need another dog, because you don't actually give a shit about doing anything. You want the glory and, the dog that sits and cuddles and all that shit, but you don't want to do any of the work to get it to that space. So fuck you. No. Yet today, okay, so today my mom and I got into it on, she's making stuff for tomorrow for Thanksgiving. And she's always, like, she and the sisters and my grandmother will split things up and who's bringing, like, the important things, right? My aunt brings the ham. My aunt next door takes the deviled eggs. Which that's important because tomorrow's deviled eggs day, because I got my shirt because my one aunt, the ham aunt, wants us to do this silly thing, so I'm gonna be a team player, and I got my deviled eggs earrings. I've been thinking about that a lot lately too. It's like, I love that my favorite food item also doubles as a silly pun, and that of course I'm the one that likes them enough that it was like there wasn't even a question when my aunt saw the shirt. It's like, that's Sarah. So, you know, I appreciate that. And there again, you know, it doubles as a silly pun. So I got my earrings to wear tomorrow. And I was thinking about it. It's like when my family really gets to the point where they can't stand me anymore, which is coming very soon. Then it'll serve another layer with, you know, how, you know, I was the deviled eggs in, you know, the one that went bad, right? The family. Yeah, so there's all these layers of it. So yeah, anyway. Today's thing. So she's worried about the food, right? And the issue with the food is they've always split or decided like who's bringing what. But my mom always, without fail, takes more than what she agreed to bring, right? It's not just, I'll bring a dessert of some type. She, you know, she said that before, and then she'll bring like 3. It's like, part of the obesity issues in this family is because we can't not have extra of all the food, right? You know, and that was another thing, like, something that happened recently was I made a comment about like being up 9 pounds in 3 weeks because, you know, I had gone to the blood center and they, you know, weigh you about every time. And, you know, it's like, how did I put on that much weight in that amount of time? Well, I mean, I do eat before I go. So depending on where I ate and, you know, what I ate and all that stuff also depends. But when I came back and said something about it, and she's like, well, how did that happen? It's like, because you buy all the shit that we don't need in the house and that I've asked multiple times not to have, you're still going to show up with it. And then, you know, she like went out of her way to apologize because she knows how hard it is to lose weight and all this stuff, especially when, you know, you have somebody that's basically sabotaging you in the process. You know what's happened since then? She's gotten worse about it. She's buying more of the junk just to have it around, because then if you get stressed because, well, hey, because there's a missing dog, you're going to be more inclined to want to stress eat again, right? So she apologized, but then did it more. It's like, we don't accept bullshit apologies anymore unless there's more to them. Like, you recognize that there's an issue, so you change it and you stop doing the thing, right? Now, you know, there's plenty of stuff that they will get that I won't touch food-wise, just because, like, there's certain things I don't want and, you know, don't like. But then, you know, it's more, what will she eat? Well, let's get more of that. It's like, I don't want it. You know, and like, that was the biggest thing. Like, everybody on that side of the family, my mom, my aunts, and my grandma, you know, they'd be so concerned about Gracie's weight, but then they're like making sure that there are donuts around every time because Gracie likes donuts. Yeah, but Gracie also needs like protein for breakfast, or otherwise, like, she goes mean, right? Like that too much sugar is not a good thing for that child. And like, therefore, like, she would get like really mean and start like hitting and, you know, having meltdowns and all this stuff. So it's like, so they do more of the things that cause the issue, right? You know, my brother was talking about how once my mom stopped coming around as often, or they stopped being around her so much, he and Gracie were both losing a bunch of weight. It's like, yes, because she goes out of her way to have the stuff she knows you will eat, you will stress eat, and then basically set up these situations where you're going to be stressed. And, you know, like, she gave me the permission to see that she wasn't blaming me, but yet there was still that other layer of it where it's like she's putting me on reserve so she can pull me back into her chaos, because she excused me on this one thing, but the dog was still in my care, so it's still an issue, right? And I still don't think I finished the today bit. So she asked me a couple times if I was going out to Greenfield to hang these flyers today, or to give them to the vets. And I said, no. No, I wasn't planning on doing it. I said, actually, I'm getting really irritated that all of this is trying to fall on me. And she's like, well, like, everything falls on me for cooking and, you know, getting ready for tomorrow. It's like, no, you chose that, right? Every time you set up an agreement of the things you're going to bring, you always bring more because somebody else might like it, or because so-and-so likes this, and so-and-so, like, you know, this other person likes this other thing, right? So that was, again, you know, one of her ways of earning daddy's affection was to buy or bring all the things that, you know, made it so good for everybody, right? Everybody gets their thing that they love. That is a lot of unnecessary stress that you choose to put upon yourself. And no, I don't feel sorry for you for that. And there again, this is still the situation with the dog that I did not want from the get-go, you know, from as soon as they started talking about it, the day Holly died, which was New Year's Day this year. Holly died January 1st, and within hours, my mom was, you know, looking at puppies. Like, no. Fucking mourn your dog. That's what you need to do. Fucking mourn the dog. You know, my dad, of course, was crushed because that was his baby. There's still another dog that they're still not paying attention to, right? So my mom, if she bothers to want to sit on the couch to watch a movie or something, which is rare, usually she's at her computer so she can be shopping or doing whatever else otherwise. But if she sits down, then she wants Pepper on her lap so she can brush the shit out of her. She doesn't spend time with Pepper unless she's brushing her. It's like, just hold the damn dog. Stop trying to always have to do something. Just sit there quietly and pet her. That's what she wants, right? She settles for the only attention she's going to get is if she's getting brushed. So she'll put up with it because at least it's attention. But I actually got a couple really good pictures of her the other day because I sat on the floor to pet Ziva for a minute, and Pepper comes over because, of course, right at her level, she's the shortest one. And I had my legs crossed and was leaning against the fridge. And she put her front feet over my legs, you know, and she kind of had them crossed, and she was just sitting there looking at me. It's like, all right, we'll just hang out. You know, and that was the biggest thing. Like I mentioned at some point last year that the idea of leaving any of the dogs behind with them, knowing how much they don't give a shit about anything but themselves, because they're at the point where they don't have to do anything except for create a mess for everybody else because they're old and feeble and can't do anything, right? But they're going to do everything possible, like shitting on the floor for my father, because he decided he wanted to run around the house naked, which, hey, nobody wants to see that. And he's already having incontinence issues. Apparently, the prednisone made it like way worse. And he was still on the prednisone when he shit on the floor, but he knew he shit on the floor, and he chose to go lay down in the other room. So I was gonna clean it up later. Bullshit, you're gonna fucking clean it up now. Except for he didn't, right? So that's part of the problem that I'm having with the fucking carpet cleaning situation, is because there's still literal shit in the carpet. You know, even though I've cleaned it, like, I've hit that same damn spot like 6 times at least, and I feel like it's really just making it worse. So, after the whole situation last night with the fire department and my mom having to go out and then calling me a butthead because I didn't just go take it up to them. Because she hadn't been doing anything, right? She got off the hook because mommy needed to go to the doctor, and then she never, she's not been doing the things otherwise. She did call animal management services, animal control, whatever animal control is, or whatever they are now, to let them know that we had a dog go missing. And the guy said that he would help us catch it if there's another sighting. So there's that. But the dog stuff is not high priority, right? Because I'm supposed to do it. So there again, I think the biggest purpose that this is serving is to keep reinforcing this idea of, I need to be done with these people. When I am done, I need to wash my hands of this whole situation, walk away, and not look back. Because they will literally never change. And they literally just, I'm supposed to do as they raised me to do, which is not have my own life. I'm supposed to cater to their bullshit and bend over backwards for them all the time and not have a life. Struggle to exist for nothing, right? That's the purpose. But yeah, that's where we are today. She and my dad did go to the Greenfield run, and they were supposed to drop off the flyers at the vet's offices. We'll see how that went. I did take one to their vet that my mom has been taking the dogs, her Shelties, to. And I've been getting the other ones ready to be hung outside, but it's fucking windy today, and I am not doing it today as far as like hanging them. And yesterday rained all day, right? So I will get the ones ready for the poster board, and I will put those up. It's okay for her to have to do something. It just is. And it is okay for me to walk away from the situation completely and be done with it when the time comes, right? And that's, I think that's the biggest point of this whole thing, is just to remind me this isn't new. It has never, it has literally been the ongoing family drama issue. It's not getting better. It never will. It was never meant to. I'm just supposed to accept my fate and living in misery because they did. And I don't want to. So, fuck that. But we're rolling in on 40 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. As always, I appreciate you. Until the next time. See ya.